Good morning, I'm Rose from Grandma Rose's Open Pantry, and today we are going to be I'm going to make several videos, but to keep it from being so long, I'm going to do each one separately, and this one is going to be squash casserole. Uh, Now, you can make this for your traditional squash casserole, but I'm making it low carb, gluten free today. But you can make it the traditional way, and as I go along, I will show you. But I'm going to come on this side, baby. I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan, and this is about 3/4 cups of onions and about a 1/3 cup of peppers. Now you can omit these peppers. You don't have to put peppers in it if you don't want to, but you do want to put onions. You always want to put onions. Your traditional, uh, a lot of people when they do squash casserole, they put cream of chicken soup in it or some cream soup. Well, I don't, and because it has gluten in it and it's high carb, so I'm just going to let these saute a little bit. They're better. I have found out they're better if you saute them a little bit rather than putting them in your casserole raw. So I've got 2 ounces of cream cheese. Now, if you don't want cream cheese, you can omit this step. You don't have to put cream cheese in it. And I've got 2 tablespoons of butter in this bowl. Let me move this. Now I'm going to add 2 eggs to this bowl. And I'm going to take my whisk, and I'm going to whisk my eggs with my cream cheese and my butter, just to get them smooth so they'll go in my squash. Uh-oh, I made a mess. I needed a bigger bowl. But y'all always hear me say I make messes, and I do. But I wanted to get all of this incorporated good. Okay?
Did you warm your cream cheese in the microwave?
I did. I softened my cream cheese in the microwave. Now, let me get this up. This mat's clean, so I'm just going to put it back in here. Now, this is some squash that I froze this summer. You like to make a mess too, honey. This is some squash that I froze this summer. So this is 2 ounces of cream cheese, 2 ounces of cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 2 eggs. Okay. Now I'm going to stir this up good. Now I've taken these out of the freezer and I've thawed them in the microwave. And this is going to be just as creamy and cheesy as it would be if you put the cream of soups in it. That's what your cream cheese is going to do. Now, if you don't want cream cheese, you can always put sour cream. I have done it with sour cream. Now, to this, I'm going to add, and to make it a little bit more creamy, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of mayo. And my onions and peppers are cooking behind me. So I'm going to stir them a little bit. It doesn't matter. You don't want to get them really, really soft. You're just cooking them a little bit to cook some of that raw flavor out of them, because they're going to cook in this for like 45 minutes. All right. Now, to this mixture, I'm going to add some garlic powder, and that's just to your taste, ever how much you want. Some onion powder, never salt, because I like to add my own salt, so I don't buy garlic salt, onion salt. Now I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Okay. Now, to this mixture, excuse me, I am going to add my onions and peppers because they're almost ready. And as you can see, I just cooked them a little bit, just sauteed them, get some of that raw flavor out. And all right. Now you make this recipe yours. You put as much onion and as much peppers, no peppers, just ever how you want to do it. You make it yours. That's how. That's what cooking's all about. It's taking a recipe and making it your own. So now to this, I think that's enough mayo. And y'all know I like to grate my own cheese. And this is sharp or extra sharp cheddar. I think it's probably, this is probably sharp cheddar right here. Okay. Now, let me get all this out of the way because I'm fixing to grate some of them. I'm going to show y'all how I grate my cheese. I've already grated some. And I'm going to put about, that's about a cup right there. But I'm going to put about a cup and 3/4 because we like our squash casserole cheesy. So, okay. All right. Now I just take my box grater and I go down the big side of it. It's so easy and so simple. And if you grate your own cheese, shredded is good. And I keep it when I'm in a pinch and don't have time to grate. But you're shredding your own is so good because it melts so much better than your shredded. And your shredded that you buy in the grocery store has like potato starch or other kinds of additives on it to keep it from sticking together. So that's the reason I really don't like to use it a lot. But I do keep it in my fridge. So if I get in a pinch, then I've got some cheese. All right. I think that's enough. Ooh, that looks good. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Y'all have seen me do this before. I'm going to put a little bit in the microwave. Just a little bit. Get some of that.
I was about to say, never serve a casserole or quit seasoning a casserole before you've done this cheat test because you don't know how well it's seasoned.
Right. It may need more salt. It may need more pepper. It may need a little bit more mayo. So,
and as an inexperienced cook, now Rose can just about put what she thinks is right in there and it'll be very close.
Yeah.
But if you're not that experienced with how you season it, cook some like she's doing and then readjust the seasoning.
I just take a little dish and I put like a tablespoon in there and I'll put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and especially to cook some of that egg and to find out what kind of seasonings I've got in it. I'm gonna get a spoon, honey. And I've got my little casserole dish buttered here.
Squash can be so bland, can't it?
It can. It really
Just
can.
don't want to serve bland squash.
No. No, you do not. Whew. It's hot. Okay. And as you can see, 30 seconds will pretty much cook everything that's in it. So I'm going to taste. Now your consistency is going to be different out of the oven than it is in the microwave. It'll be creamier. Ooh, that's hot. But I want to get a little bit of everything so I can tell. Mm. We love pepper. Mm. It needs a little bit of pepper, but everything else is spot on. Really good. That's good. That's really good. You want to taste, honey? It's hot now. Be careful.
Mm.
Isn't that good?
Mm-hmm.
That's delicious. Okay. I'm hoping my little dish is, yeah, it's big enough. Now that was 3 cups of squash. And these had been in the freezer, so they were blanched squash. But now if I was doing fresh squash, I would cook my squash about probably 5 minutes before I made my casserole. That way, your squash is soft when you start making your casserole, and it'll cook a lot better, and it'll be better if you just if you cook your squash, if they're fresh, cook them about 5 minutes. Now I saute mine. I don't boil mine because when you boil them in water, it tends to lose your flavor. It loses a lot. So I saute mine in a little olive oil for about 5 minutes, not enough to brown them. I do it on kind of medium low heat, just enough to cook some of that rawness out of them and get them a little soft. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take this cheese. That was about 1.5 cups I put in there. I'm going to take this cheese and I'm going to spread some over the top. Now, I'll tell you what's really good. If you've got panko crumbs, and I did this for Thanksgiving a couple of years ago before I came off wheat. Take panko crumbs and mix just a little bit of butter with it. And instead of cheese, spread it over this. But I wouldn't do it. I would cook I'm going to cook this about 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. So at about 20 minutes, you would take it out, put your panko crumbs on it, and then slide it back in the oven for the other 10 or 15 minutes. If you don't do that, your panko crumbs are going to get too brown. So that's not the way with cheese. Your cheese is just going to melt and get toasty brown. It's going to be really, really good. But your panko crumbs, if you use them, and I'm telling you, they are really, really good. So if you can have wheat, then I would try the panko crumbs also. I have done panko crumbs and the cheese, and it's really good that way. So, but this is just a gluten-free, low-carb way of making squash casserole right here, because your squash, very little carbs. Your onions, peppers, eggs, cream cheese, mayo, garlic, your cheese, very, very few carbs. So this is just a really, really good way to have a low carb, delicious squash casserole. So I forgot to set my uh, oven to preheat my oven, but I just turned it on, and I'm going to put it in anyway. With casseroles, things like that, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're baking, like cakes, pies, cookies, things like that, you do not want to put anything in a cold oven. But with this, it's perfectly fine because it can just sit in there while it's heating up, and it'll be perfectly fine. So I'll show y'all this when it comes out of the oven. It's going to take about 30-35 minutes. So I'll see y'all back here in a few minutes, and I'm going to finish eating this. Good morning, I'm Rose from Grandma Rose's Open Pantry, and today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade mac and cheese. Promise is coming in a little bit, and I told her I was making squash casserole. She's not fond of it. She will eat it, but I always try to make her some mac and cheese when she comes because she loves it so good. So I've got some water about to boil in my pan here. And in this, I've got like a teaspoon of salt, and I've got like just probably a teaspoon of butter that I put in here just to kind of keep my noodles from sticking together. And I don't make a big dish. I just make a small one for her. because she'll be here today and part of tomorrow. So that's about 1.5 cups of macaroni noodles. And I'm just going to let them cook about 7 or 8 minutes just till they're kind of al dente. You don't want them to get mushy in your water, because then I'm going to put them in the oven. And if they get mushy, then they don't make a good mac and cheese. So you just cook them till they're like al dente. Then you bring them out and you put all of your other ingredients with them. So I'll be back in a few minutes. It's going to take these about 7 minutes. And I'm cooking. She loves green beans. So I've got some green beans back here that I'm cooking for her. And I'm going to cook her some chicken in a little bit. But I'm going to just let these cook for about 7 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put all this together, and I'll show you how I do what all I put in my mac and cheese. Okay, my mac and cheese, my macaroni is cooked. It's behind me. So I'm going to put 1 egg. Now, if I was making more, I would put 2 eggs, but I'm just going to put 1 egg, and I'm going to whisk it real good with a whisk. And I'm going to put a little bit of milk in it. I'm going to put more milk in my casserole, but I'm just putting some in here just to kind of beat it up with this egg, get this egg kind of beat up really good. Eggs beat better if you put a little liquid in with them. So, okay. I don't know what Roxy heard. She heard something. Now, what I'm going to do is pour this back in my milk, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I've mixed a little bit of milk in with my egg, and I put it back in my milk, and I'm going to show you why. It's because I'm putting hot macaroni noodles in my bowl, and I didn't want it to cook my egg. So that's the reason I mixed my egg, poured my egg back in my milk.
So you want your noodles to cool off?
No, I don't. If I had put these noodles over that hot egg, it would have cooked the egg. I didn't want that. So, all right. Now I'm going to put I put a little salt in my water, but you know, pasta takes a good bit of salt. So, I've got I put like a 1/2 teaspoon in there. And now I'm going to put I don't want to put a lot of butter because the cheese has a lot of oil in it. So that's probably a good tablespoon and 1/2. And I'm going to stir that around. And if it was just us eating it, I would put black pepper, but I'm not going to put pepper because this is mainly for Promise. And anybody can add pepper if they want to. Now, this is just a simple recipe, but this is the way Promise likes it. But you'd be amazed at the people that don't know how to make homemade mac and cheese. They just open a box, mix the ingredients in it, and then they put it on the table. But there are so many people that don't know how to make it. Now, there are other ways. There are other things you can add to it, but this is the way Promise likes it. Now, I'm going to add my milk, and that was 1 cup of milk and 1 egg. Okay.
So your noodles had time to cool down a little bit.
My noodles had time to cool down a little bit. Now, I'm going to put about 1 cup. This is extra sharp cheese. When you use sharp or extra sharp cheese, you don't have to use as much cheese as you do if you use medium or mild, because it has such a stronger flavor. So that's one way that you can get by more economically, is by buying your sharp cheeses instead of your mild or your medium cheese. Now, Jenny, my daughter, doesn't like the sharp and extra sharp, so I don't use it with her, but Promise does. So, and that way I can cut back on my cheese. Okay, put a little bit more in there. Okay, that was maybe a cup. So now, this is all I put in my mac and cheese for promise. So I got my casserole dish buttered here. Now I may add a little bit more milk to it, and I'll show you why. That was a cup to begin with, but I like to cover my macaroni in milk, and that is not covered. So, and I'll show you what I mean by covered. Now, sometimes I use evaporated milk, which is canned milk. It's a lot of people call it cream. Sometimes I use half and half, but today I just decided I was just going to use whole milk. So, do you see what I mean when I say covered? It means the milk comes up over your macaroni noodles.
But doesn't necessarily cover every noodle in the bowl. You got some noodles sticking up.
Well, I didn't mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
not meaning
I don't mean
covered.
a whole bunch.
Because the macaroni's going to float some anyway.
Okay. Then I'm going to take the rest of this and I'm going to spread it over my noodles. And my oven is already on because I've got my squash casserole. Roy and I'll eat squash casserole. Promise we'll eat mac and cheese. Okay. And it's time to take my squash casserole out. Isn't that good timing? Oh my. Look at this. Look at that squash casserole, y'all.
Isn't that pretty?
I got to reset my timer. I'm going to set it for 30 minutes. Man, that looks so good.
Now, some people wonder, how do you stay on a controlled carbohydrate food culture and cook for other people at the same time? Well, this is a good example today of how Rose does that. She's going to have fried chicken, green beans, mac and cheese, and a squash casserole. That allows those who are watching their carbs to eat the cheese, to eat the
squash casserole.
Squash casserole and the chicken and green beans and keep the carbs down.
That's
so
right.
You're eating a low carb diet.
Yep.
While the guests who don't necessarily worry about carbs, they can indulge in the macaroni and cheese with the meat and the green beans, or they can eat all of it if they want to. But if you have enough recipes, you can constantly put the two together so that you're feeding your guest or your children one way and eating your way on low carbs at the same time.
Very easy. And I always keep lettuce. I always keep salad makings in the refrigerator, so I could always make a green salad. But my green beans are, I hear them back here. They're ready. So I told y'all I would show you what my squash casserole look like. So this is it. And as soon as my mac and cheese gets ready, I'll bring it out and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I told y'all I would show you when I took my mac and cheese out of the oven. And this is what my homemade mac and cheese looks like right here. And this is Promise's chicken, and we've got some green beans, and she is fixing to eat. Roy and I ate a few minutes ago, and she's fixing to eat. So thank y'all for joining me today. I love you, and hit that little notification bell, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch y'all next time.